Thank you for joining us here at Lowry Sports Rhetoric. I'm your host, Nathan.
I'm Damon.
And today we're going to continue in the NFC East with the Dallas Cowboys. Last year, 2021, they were 12-5, first in the NFC East. Lost the wild card to the 49ers, 17-23. Offensively, they were first in yards and first in points offensively, so obviously the best offense. That's pretty good. Defensively, they were 19th in yards allowed and 7th in points allowed. I find it interesting because we live in an area where it's predominantly Dallas Cowboys fans, so I do talk to a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans, and they do not seem very happy with their team, and I guess I don't fully understand.
I think this is the thing. You look at 12-5, that sounds good. You look at first in offense, that sounds good.
Yeah.
But then you look at loss to the 49ers in the playoffs, and that's the thing that people get hung up on because that kind of thing happens too often.
I guess.
Too often with the Cowboys since that run in the 90s ended. I think just too often.
Under Romo happened a lot.
During the Romo years it happened a lot, and now with Dak it's happening. So I think that's...
They just can't get past that round. They just can't get past
feeling like, you lose to teams that you're supposed to beat way too often.
Yeah.
So then it's like... The regular season doesn't really matter if that continues to happen. No matter how good you look in the regular season, you just go, well, we never went in the playoffs, so it doesn't matter.
I suppose I could definitely see that. From an outsider's perspective, I mean, they don't look... I guess I could see that, though.
I mean, I'd rather be 12-5 with the number one offense in the league than what I've been experiencing as a fan.
I'm just saying.
I would prefer
not that bad.
Even losing in the playoff round, I would still prefer that to what I've been experiencing as a fan.
Okay. Their GM is Jerry Jones. Obviously, he's the GM and the owner. He's never going to get fired, so we're not even...
I mean, maybe his son will fire him eventually.
I mean, maybe.
I feel like his son is working on trying to figure out how to fire him. It just hasn't happened yet.
I mean, he's not a terrible GM. Sometimes he makes head-scratching decisions.
He's getting better.
Yeah, I mean...
He's getting better. There was a while there where it was kind of rough, but I think he's getting better.
I think so, too. All right. Head coach Mike McCarthy. He's been there 2 years. He's 18-15 under the Cowboys. I'm not really the biggest Mike McCarthy fan.
I'm not a big Mike McCarthy fan either. I mean, we're gonna, we already know that we're gonna be talking about this with the Packers, but I just feel like, I mean, when you talk about losing to a team you're not supposed to lose to, like, I feel like Mike McCarthy lost a lot of games he wasn't supposed to lose with Aaron Rodgers.
He kind of embodies what you're saying that the Cowboys fans get kind of frustrated about. I mean, to me, I agree with you.
I think he did that a lot with the Packers, and now he's doing it with the Cowboys, and.
I haven't been super impressed with Mike McCarthy.
I didn't think that was a great hire when it happened, and nothing's happened since then to
change my mind.
Sure,
so I agree with that. All right, free agent additions. They didn't have very many. They did have Dante Fowler Jr., defensive end out of Atlanta. Solid player there. James Washington, wide receiver out of Pittsburgh. I think he's definitely still got a lot of potential. And,
I like him. I think he has got some upside for sure.
For sure. And then Ryan Nall, running back out of Chicago, is fullback.
Yeah.
Lyrium Holarella, kicker out of Carolina, and I can't say his name. We did the Carolina video. I can't say his name. I won't try again. Free agent losses. Okay, so that was their additions.
Just those four.
Didn't do a whole lot.
Not a lot.
But I mean, again, like I feel like even what their defense struggled with last year, I feel like there was some injury problems there and stuff. As far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't do much either. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's a bad play in my opinion. But free agency losses. Randy Gregory, outside linebacker, went to Denver. I do feel like that's a loss. I mean, he's a good player.
Yeah, I mean, I think bringing in Fowler to replace Gregory is a little bit of a downgrade. Not a huge downgrade, but a little bit of a downgrade.
Yeah. Cedric Wilson, wide receiver to Miami. I mean, like, again, they run in Washington, so.
Yeah, so does Washington replace Wilson, or does Washington replace the trade that we'll be talking about here in a little bit?
Yeah. La'el Collins, right tackle to Cincinnati.
Don't see that replacement.
No.
He's a good young player.
Yeah. Connor Williams, center to Miami. Greg Zerlin, kicker to the Jets. Keon Neal, safety to Tampa Bay.
And I like him. I think he's good. So, I don't know.
DeMonte Kazee, safety to Pittsburgh. Brent Urban, defensive end to Baltimore. Malik Turner, wide receiver to San Francisco, and Morris Kennedy, cornerback to the Giants. And then the trades, because like you said, it's kind of, they didn't lose a whole lot there, I don't think. But trades: Amari Cooper, wide receiver to Cleveland, for a 5th in the 22nd and a 6th in the 22nd.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest fan of Amari Cooper. I never have really been. I think he's a good, talented receiver, but there's obvious problems with him. Teams don't really want to hold on to him.
Yeah, we talked about it when we did the Cleveland video. There's something weird there that I'm not seeing. I don't know what it is, but just the fact that he seems to not be able to stick on a team.
Even as
is weird. And to give him up for a 5th and 6th round pick, like you see what those other premier wide receivers got, like the trades for Brown, like the other premier wide receivers got a heck of a lot, and even what the Cowboys gave up to get Cooper a couple years ago from the Raiders. This is weird to me.
Yeah, I can see that. Like I said, I there's got to be something with Amari Cooper because he is a decent player. I don't know. I think that there's better wide receivers though. I think he's a little overrated in my opinion. But I have always thought that. I've always thought that through his career. So, all right, we'll get into the draft now. Round 1, number 24, Tyler Smith, tackle out of Tulsa. I believe this kid looks like he's going to be a very good tackle.
Yeah, I think he's a right tackle though. I don't know that he's a left tackle. I think he's more of a right tackle.
Got a lot of upside here.
Yeah.
Round 2, number 56, Sam Williams, defensive end out of Ole Miss. And I don't know too much about him. But,
I did not watch a lot of Ole Miss football this year. I'm not a big Kiffin fan, so I kind of don't watch them.
But they do a good job of targeting people in the draft, so I'm sure that he's got something that they like. Round 3, number 88, Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver out of South Alabama.
No, I do like Jalen Tolbert. I think he's got some upside. Between him and Washington. So if you figure you lost Cooper and Wilson, you add Tolbert and Washington. I know Dallas was very deep at wide receiver. They've been very deep at wide receiver for a couple of years now.
Yeah, Lamb's good.
So I think that this keeps them deep at wide receiver, which somebody's got to be catching all those balls that Dak is throwing. So he'll probably be solid. Like they seem to be able to produce like 5 wide receivers. So I'm sure he'll fit in the mix somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. All right, round 4, number 129, Jake Ferguson, tight end out of Wisconsin. I think that he's got some upside too as well.
That's interesting. He's not like typically those Wisconsin wide receivers are like
bulldozers,
really good blockers, and they're kind of pass catchers second. They can catch passes, they can run routes, but they're mostly blockers. He's kind of different. He's a different one. He's more of a pass catcher, not quite the blocker that they normally have. So
sure.
I could see him fitting in well behind the guy that what's his name that they re-signed. We'll get to it here in a minute. Schultz, there you go. Yeah. I think him and Schultz have a similar kind of game maybe. So
I like Schultz. He's good.
That's a good 1-2 punch where they'll be able to utilize both those guys. And like we said, Dak throws for a lot of yards, so there's plenty of balls to go around.
Absolutely. Round 5, number 155. Matt Waletzko, offensive tackle out of North Dakota. Just adding there to the line. Round 5, number 167, Dalton Bland, cornerback out of Fresno State. And I don't know much about him either.
I don't either.
Round 5, number 176, Damon Clark, inside linebacker out of LSU.
I do like him. He's a player with a little bit of upside.
Round 5, number 178, John Ridgway, defensive tackle out of Arkansas.
I really like Ridgway's upside. I really like him actually.
Yeah. Round 6, number 193, Devin Harper, linebacker out of Oklahoma State. I don't know much about him.
No, unfortunately, even though we're right here, I don't remember watching him much.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma State was a little. I didn't watch them as much as Oklahoma.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go ahead and get into the starters here. Dak Prescott, quarterback. Remember, these are projected starters. When we get down the list, this is what's projected. But
yeah, we're not sure if Dak's going to start or not.
Yeah, not sure.
So, tune
in. 4,449 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, another 146 rushing, and 1 touchdown. Again, I talked to a lot of people that are not happy with Dak Prescott, and I don't see it, in my own opinion. I don't see it. I don't see what's there to not be happy about. I mean, the guy looks fine to me, and like even when I'm watching, it's like with my eyes I can see. In my opinion, he gets a bad rap. In my opinion, I don't think he gets enough credit.
Yeah, I mean he's interesting, right? Because it's like the numbers are obviously there, but when I think about best quarterbacks in the league, there's a lot of guys that come into my thought before I come to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that also what I see when I watch him isn't necessarily a lot of the panic that I see in some of the other ones. You know what I mean? He seems to keep a cool head. So I don't know. I like Dak Prescott. Like I said,
Look, I'd take him in a heartbeat, but over what we have. But I just think that I think it just depends on what you're looking for. Like if you're comparing him to Mahomes,
yeah, I mean,
Aaron Rodgers,
yeah,
I don't think he's on that level.
Well,
but he's
sure.
getting paid that. He wanted to get paid that. And that's where I think things get tricky with some of these quarterbacks.
I mean, I take Dak Prescott on the same level as like a Derek Carr, like a Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a huge difference between Derek Carr and Russell Wilson.
I don't know. I don't know that there's that big of a difference between them two. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't know. Like,
I think Prescott is in the Russell Wilson conversation, which is a notch down from that other group.
Right. Well,
but if he's getting paid the same as those other guys are getting paid, I think that's part of what causes that. That criticism. But you're right. I mean, he produces.
He looks like he produces to me.
And look,
so I don't know.
When he's been healthy, they've been a good team. But here's the other thing too. It's just like Romo. Like, if you're not winning playoff games, if you're consistently winning your division every year in and year out, and you're not winning playoff games, that's going to be held against you. And
I always thought Romo was underrated too.
And I think that's the part of it. This Art and Dak is like you gotta win playoff games.
I guess we'll see. Ezekiel Elliott, running back, last year, 1,002 yards, 10 touchdowns, 287 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I mean, he's okay.
Yeah, he's a good running back. I mean, we all know that. You know what I mean? They had the number one offense for a reason. You know. Wide receiver C.D. Lamb, 79 receptions, 1,102 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I've always liked C.D. Lamb, obviously.
Yeah, he's a good player.
You know, so he's good. Wide receiver Michael Gallup, 35 receptions, 445 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was injured, and that was just through 9 games. So, basically half the season. I think he would have had some pretty damn good stats if he would have kept up there.
I think he's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. And then they have projected Jalen Tolbert, the rookie, as wide receiver, as we discussed. Washington's theirs too. But
I mean, 1 through 4 right there.
Yeah.
That's a pretty darn good wide receiver unit.
I like that wide receiver.
That's a good wide receiver unit, 1 through 4.
Yes,
and then like we said, the tight ends are nice too.
Tight end,
pass catching with tight ends.
Dalton Schultz, 78 receptions, 808 yards, and 8 touchdowns. I'm actually really high on this kid. I like him. I think he's got a lot of upside, and he really played well last year. So it'll be exciting to watch him again as well. And like you said, you pair him up with that other tight end. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I like their offense. Obviously, what's not to like? They were first overall. Again,
They
I don't
just
know.
got to win playoff games.
Yeah, I mean it's true. It's true, but I think that talent is there for sure. All right.
You just completely skipped the offensive line.
Oh. Okay, offensive line. We got left tackle Tyron Smith, left guard Tyler Smith, center Tyler Biodas, right guard Badass, yeah, Tyler Badass, right guard Zach Martin, right tackle Terrence Steele. It's an all right line, I guess.
Well, I think the thing with Dallas, it's interesting with Dallas because they've consistently had really good offensive lines, and they seem to. That is the one thing that I will give in the Jerry Jones era, even when they he's done questionable things, they've always made sure to keep their line good. And I think they are in the process of retooling it right now, but they're retooling it with players that are pretty good. So I don't know that it's firing on all cylinders yet. It might not be that classic, like dominant Dallas line that they've had over the years, but they're young and they're probably gonna get there eventually. Whether it's this year, next year, at some point they're gonna start to become dominant, I would think, because they've always done a good job of drafting linemen that turn into really good players. So
absolutely. All right. For defense, you got left defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence. Last year, 21 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 interception, 1 touchdown, and 5 pass deflects. He was injured, and he only played 7 games last year. So, I mean, to me, those are some pretty good stats to have in 7 games. I don't know. I like DeMarcus Lawrence. Left defensive tackle Carlos Watkins, 32 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception, 1 touchdown, 1 pass deflect. Right defensive tackle Neville Gillimore, 13 tackles, 1.5 sacks. He was injured 5 games. He only played 5 games last year. And then right defensive end Dante Fowler Jr. coming over from Atlanta, 36 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and a pass deflect.
All right, so listen, I mean, this is, we've been talking about, since we've been doing these videos, there are so many good duos, so many good pass rushing duos. Like, you guys have a good pass rushing duo, and it's not even close to, like, what the Chargers have, what the Raiders have, what Washington has, what the Saints have. I think even probably the Buccaneers have a better duo than that one. I think that's the part. That's the thing that would make me, when you're talking Super Bowl contenders, to me, this is kind of separates Dallas from the other teams. I don't think they have the pass rushing duos or the ability to get after the passer that those teams that I just named have.
Sure.
Like even Buffalo, they went out and got and for that, and the Rams. Like, there's so many. All of these teams that we talk about going to the Super Bowl, they all have really good offenses and really good quarterbacks, and they also have really good pass rushers.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference with Dallas. To me, I think Dallas. Well, we'll get to it in a minute, but I think that this is. I just wanted to bring that up because I think that stands out compared to the other ones when we're going through these like team by team by team, and you go, okay, that's solid production, and those guys when they're healthy are pretty good. But they're just not on the same level as some of those other teams in my mind.
I can see that. All right. Linebackers, Luke Gifford with 11 tackles last year. Linebacker, Leighton Vanderdesh, 77 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception, 2 pass deflects. Linebacker, Micah Parsons, he was a rookie last year, 84 tackles, 13 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 3 pass deflects.
And that's what the Cowboys fans are going to tell me, right? Parsons had 13 sacks. What do you want?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, Mike Parsons is one of my favorite players in the whole league.
Yeah.
I loved him even coming out of college. He was my favorite player in that draft. He's a beast out there. Vanderdesh has never really lived up, in my opinion, to the hype that was about him. So I do think that's a little something. And then, like Luke Gifford, obviously there was not much production there. So
yeah, I mean, that's like, even given how good Parsons is, like when you just look at that front 7 as a whole, they're just not on par with some of those other contenders. Which isn't that they're bad. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying, there's a hierarchy there.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good defenses out there. So yeah,
especially after this offseason, the way
this has got some pieces there. This has got some pieces there, and especially young pieces. So it's got pieces there. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But I agree with you on that. All right, now let's get into the secondary here. The Anthony Brown, 71 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 17 pass deflects. Jaron Kearse, 101 tackles, 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery, 2 interceptions, 10 pass deflects. You got Malik Hooker, used to be a Colt, 44 tackles, 1 interception, 2 pass deflects. And then you got Trevon Diggs, 52 tackles, 11 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 21 pass deflects. I think there's a lot of talent there in that secondary.
The secondary seems good.
Yeah.
But I think most of those other teams that we're talking about also have good secondaries too. Yeah. I just think in whole, when you look at that defense as a whole, not that it's bad, it's not bad. Don't get mad at me. I'm not saying they suck. I just don't think that they're on the same level.
But a lot of those that you mentioned are on the AFC anyways. I mean, we're talking about the NFC, competing.
Yeah, but even I would take Tampa's defense. I would take New Orleans' defense. I would take Washington's defense.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about the West yet, but I'm pretty certain I'm going to say the Rams.
But their offense is better than all of those. Well, except for Tampa, maybe. Not Tampa.
Yeah, and how much better?
I mean, obviously it was better, but still.
Well, it was number 1, but how much better? Yeah. How much better were they than the Rams' offense? How much better were they than Tampa's offense?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I see them as a team. Anyways, so we're through that. Let's get into that. I see Dallas as a team that a lot of people are definitely not giving enough credit to. I can see what you're saying, and I think that you're right, especially in that front seven there. There is some weaknesses. There's some holes. I get.
I mean,
that,
I think they win their division. There's no doubt they win their division, but then,
I think their division got a lot stronger too. By the way, so
yeah, but I still think they win their division.
Yeah, I do too.
But then it's Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Green Bay, the Rams. All four of those teams I think I like better than Dallas. So what's the upside? Even if they win the wild card,
put them on the same. Yeah, I guess I don't know. New Orleans is a pretty good team. I don't know.
I just think top to bottom. I mean, especially if Winston can get, like we talked about when we did the New Orleans video. Yeah. If Winston can play at a decent level and stays healthy, he's not Dak, but he doesn't need to be Dak because the rest of that team is better. Yeah. And that's. Tampa Bay.
I think there's some solid stuff going on in Dallas too, and I mean, like to me, like they're a team that I could definitely see doing it. You know what I mean? Going to the Super Bowl, I could see that. Like, do I put them as like a top contender for that? No, but it wouldn't shock me.
It's not going to shock me either. I'm just saying when we're doing power rankings, we've already talked about how strong the AFC is, and then you look at the NFC, and I think that they're. Fifth or sixth in the NFC. So, will they win their division? I think so. Will they make the playoffs? Definitely, I think they'll make the playoffs. It's just at that point, like this is what we talked about at the start of the video. I think Dallas Cowboys fans are sick of we're good enough to win our division, we're good enough to make the playoffs, but then we fizzle out. I think they're sick of that. And when you talk about like Dak not getting his credit or Jerry Jones not people being sick of Jerry Jones. I think there's some Dallas fans that are sick of Jerry Jones because they blame him. And we've talked about this. Sustained success doesn't happen in the NFL, and they have had more sustained success as far as winning their division and being in the conversation than a large portion of the teams out there.
Absolutely.
But it's been a long time since they made that Super Bowl, and when you're a Cowboys fan, that's what you expect, right? You expect to win Super Bowls. It has been a while.
I can see that, but I'm just saying, like, to me, they've got a lot of the ingredients. And maybe not all of the ingredients. I could see that. But they're building in that direction, and I don't know. I like Cowboys. I'm really high on them. I think that they're a team very much that I could see sneak in there, surprise some people, get that deep and win it. Maybe like, Cincinnati or something last year. You know what I mean? Like.
So getting back to the pure, essence of what we're doing with these videos, the off-season. How do you rate their off-season? We talked about their additions versus subtractions. I thought they kind of downgraded a little bit on their additions versus subtractions. The draft was okay.
I mean, if they downgraded, it was a very little bit.
A little bit, yeah, not a huge problem.
There
was only a few positions anyway, but I think a little bit of a downgrade.
All right, I mean, I put them
a good draft,
pretty close to the same as they were.
But a good draft, so yeah.
I don't think that they got better. I don't think they got worse, but I think that they were a damn solid team, anyways. So I mean, you know what I mean. We'll see how it goes this season. I just think that their division definitely got tougher, but I still see them as being the top dog in there. So
I guess the only thing I would say, to me, the only knock you could put on them is a lot of the other Super Bowl contenders, like just exactly what I just said. How many teams that already had a better pass rusher than Dallas has got a second pass rusher that's better than anybody that Dallas has? And Dallas didn't go out and get. I really think if I'm a Cowboys fan, I was hoping, let's go get a premier pass rusher to take a little bit of the pressure off of Parsons, and let that kid be the leader of the defense, but not have the pressure of having to be the sack guy too. I mean, that's really hard to do, to be the leader of the defense and the number one sack guy. And, a lot of these teams have that linebacker that can be the leader of the defense and get 130 tackles plus 2 sack guys. Dallas has got the one guy.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be the one criticism I would make. They didn't address that, and I think they should have. So, not a bad offseason, but it's hard for me to really give them too much kudos because I think that was the one hole that they could have tried to address. A lot of teams got better in that way, and they didn't.
Yeah. I guess I could see that.
That's the only thing I have. But look, again, I know Dallas. Look, I'm not trashing your team, Cowboys fans. Trust me, I'm not trashing your team. I fully expect them to win the division. I fully expect them to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's just from there what happens.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us a watch. If you got anything out of this, please give us a like, give us a subscribe.
And don't forget to comment. We love the comments. It's about conversation. Wow, we'd like to hear from you. What do you think of that young offensive line? Is this going to be another elite offensive line? And is Dak overrated, underrated, properly rated? And do we just imagine that you guys all hate Jerry Jones? Is that actually true?
Thank you for giving us a watch. We look forward to seeing you again next time.